Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Thriving Tuesday Moments of Encouragement. I am excited that you are here. Good afternoon, my sister. Good afternoon, Lady Clarice. Good afternoon, Deljon. Well, today, in light of everything that's going on, I felt it was necessary to maybe focus our attention on what it takes sometimes to bring about justice. I know that we are typically a nonviolent resistance kind of person, and that is my indoctrination. Good afternoon, Reverend Collins and my joy. Our indoctrination is typically nonviolence. But when I look through the Bible, there are these occasions where it was necessary for those persons to have the courage to care enough to come to the aid of those who were having issues and were defenseless against the powers that be. We look at David and Goliath. We look at Joshua and the battle at Ai. And we look at all of those instances where it took some force to bring justice to a situation. And while we may want to say they should have, they shouldn't have, they whatever, it was interesting and amazing to me to view what happened in the video and to see the different ways in which people came to the aid of those who were defenseless. Yes, it got out of hand. Yes, it may have gone too far. But the courage to care enough to hear someone say, go help that brother, and immediately someone gets helped. The courage to jump off the boat and swim to shore to be of assistance. The courage to care for one who was just doing his job. It speaks to a place that we must be. If we're going to love our neighbor as ourselves, that means coming to our neighbor's aid. And when I look at those who tried to calm it down, who tried to be that voice of reason, and reason was not able to be given, then they had to then continue to be protective. And so when I look at Psalm 82 particularly, 82:3, and it says, the first part of it, the A part says, defend the defenseless. And it goes on to talk about how we should care for those who are without, those who are oppressed. And we have lived in a country that is so divided right now. We live in a very divided country. But a lot of what goes on is based on someone's mindset that they have the right to treat people a particular way. And if we're going to be who we're supposed to be, if we're really on the battlefield, there are going to be times when, yes, we must pray. Yes, we must do the things that bring about conversation. But sometimes we are in a position where we've got to look at it from the lens of how do we defend the defenseless in a moment's notice. And so again, while we do not condone violence, and we know violence is not the way, the interesting thing to me, one of the interesting things to me that came out of yesterday was that brawl did not bring about a firearm or a knife. Nothing about that brawl escalated it to a point of gun violence or violence with a weapon. This was an old-fashioned, I'm defending those who were defenseless. And the more that people got in it, the more that there was a stand taken that took courage. They knew that at the end of this, they were going to get arrested. Everybody had to know that there was going to be some arrests on both sides of this situation. However, when people are not able to follow the directive of someone because they decide that person is not able to give them directions, and the people who came to that person's aid is a message for us about the importance of defending those who cannot defend themselves. Now, let's make this a bigger picture. Let's not stay right here, because the encouragement is not from what we saw yesterday. The encouragement comes from what we do with what we know that situation to be and how we move forward. how we move forward, looking at life through a lens of how we defend the defenseless. Every day, we wake up to a situation somewhere where there's someone who doesn't have the power to change their situation, but we watch. We are like those who had a video camera. And yes, we're grateful to them because they saw it and they were able to show us what they saw. But the truth of the matter is that they did what many of us do in every situation we see where people need defending. We observe, we look at it, we watch it, we shake our head. But my question for us and my encouragement to us today is have the courage. Have the courage to care. Have the courage to care tangibly. Have the courage to defend the defenseless. Have the courage to say, I know it's going to cost me something, but I'm going to stand for justice and right. I know it's going to cost me maybe some time. It's going to cost me maybe some funds. It's going to cost me to stand for that which is right. But we got to have the courage to care. No, it may not end up being a brawl, and I pray to God that it doesn't. I pray that we are able to be in a place where we are not hurting one another in order to get to a resolution. There's a press conference in just about 6 minutes, and we'll see how the authorities handled what happened. But what we need to understand is that man went to do his job. And when he went to do his job, like others do their jobs every single day, he was attacked by those who did not want to comply. And there are those persons in our culture, persons in our world, persons around us that are trying their best to do what they are assigned to, appointed to, what they are called to do. But they are often attacked in more ways than just someone who may hit someone, but attacked in their character, attacked in their integrity, attacked in ways which we may not have experienced. But if we see it, we cannot afford to just sit on the shore with a camera in our hands or looking at it from afar or watching it on the internet over and over and over again without understanding that we must look at situations where the defenseless are having an issue, and we must choose to come to their aid. We must defend those who need defending. We must care for those who need our care. We must be good Samaritans, come what may. We must care for those who need the care. And we can't afford to just be spectators. We must be participants in this thing we call life and ministry. And so I'm encouraging you today that while we're laughing about things and we are looking at memes that just keep coming because the internet is gonna win. Every time we see something, we see it over and over again. But the question for us is, how do we apply this to the life we've been given? How do we apply this to our faith walk? We decide and we determine that we are going to come to the aid. We are going to defend the defenseless in this world, those who are ostracized, those who are alienated, those who are talked about, those who are pushed aside. We must defend them just like we can defend someone who is being beat on the side of a boat, just like we can pick up a chair in order to hit those who are not treating people well. We've got to have the chair of our faith, the chair of our action, and make a difference in people's lives by coming to the aid of those who are defenseless. That's my encouragement today. Find it. Every day you have an opportunity to come to the aid of those who are defenseless, whether it's with your voice, with your funds, with your heart, with your conversation, with having a platform where you talk about what it is we can do. That's what I'm doing right now, so that we can collectively become those who are able to look at those who are in need of defense, and that we come to their aid. There are those who are poor. There are those who are going to be on lines tomorrow, trying to, a couple of days from now, at the church that I pastor. And that's defending the defenseless, because they cannot help their poverty and their inability to have the food that they need. So we're defending the defenseless. And so when you think about how you can do it, don't think too long. Get up and make a difference. I don't care if you have to start a movement, start a group that is going to say that they're going to help. Whether you can create a ministry for the church that you belong to that may not be doing it. Find a way to defend the defenseless, and know that sometimes it's not going to be just with our prayers. It can't just be with our thoughts. It can't just be that we come together and we praise and we thank God for what God is going to do. Sometimes we have to get up. We have to determine that we're going to jump off the boat and swim to shore in order to help those who are helpless, those who are defenseless, those who are oppressed, and those who are in need. I pray that you can hear what I'm saying and not say that I was condoning all of the violence. And listen, I'm proud of our people who decided that in Montgomery, Alabama in 2023, that just like a Rosa Parks stood her ground in 1955, that we are no longer going to take it. If you are not doing what is right, we have a right on our jobs to tell you what the authority is. If you can't handle the authority and you attack one that has nothing and has done nothing to you, then others ought to come to your aid. That's what happened yesterday. I don't even care what the press conference says. You can see with your own eyes. Understand that we have done what needed to be done. No guns came into play. No knives came into play. There was no need for anyone to have any injuries that they could not recover from. This was an old-fashioned beat down, and it was a style that is reminiscent of how we had to fight in times gone by. So I pray that you will know that there are ways to defend the defenseless. It don't mean you have to use your hands, but you do have to use your hands in ways that help. You don't have to use your hands and put your hands on somebody, but you do have to pick up what's in your hand. Use it to defend the defenseless, and give God your best as you do justice, as Micah 6:8 tells us, to love mercy, to do justice, and to walk humbly with your God. May God bless and keep you is my prayer. Those of you like myself running over to the press conference, go on over there. But remember that the lesson for us, my encouragement for us today is this: defend the defenseless, knowing that when you do it, you are walking in justice. You don't have to do it with violence, but you do have to look for opportunities every day in order to defend those who cannot defend themselves. May God bless and keep you is my prayer. I will see you soon. Have the courage to care and be encouraged.